Hi, my name is Neil Johnson. I'm the inventor-creator of the Bone Locker bike carrier. It's an anti-theft bike carrier. It came about through a process of having 3 bicycles stolen off the back of my vehicle. They were all secured to the vehicle using a standard cable lock. The cable locks were basically clipped by somebody that used a bolt cutter. So it was pretty easy to defeat. So about 2 years ago, I started working on a design, and it took about 2 years to get to this point right now. It's a super efficient, super simple design, not a lot of moving parts, extremely lightweight. We're at about 28, 29 pounds for this particular product. It utilizes a locking bar, which is solid steel. It's a 3/4 inch locking bar that inserts into the upright unit and the support bar. This is a stainless steel support bar. But this locking bar is solid metal. It weighs about 3 pounds. And it's extremely difficult to cut through it. It utilizes a lock on the end, either a master lock. Kurt makes a product also that's a really nice lock. And I'll show you, when you click it in, when you close it, there's hardly any distance in between the locking bar and the lock itself. But the point is the locking bar inserts into the upright, and then the lock itself goes on the back, where it's kind of out of the way. What we find is that if you were a thief and you really wanted to get after this, with the bikes on the carrier, it's hard to get, and in the car, it's hard to get in here and get at the lock. It's extremely difficult to hacksaw through this bar because it wiggles. And I don't know if you ever sawed through a lot of metal with a hacksaw. The blade will actually bind up because of this motion. A bolt cutter will not break through this. This is too thick for a bolt cutter. So if you lose your key to your lock, you're going to have a very bad day because it will take you a long time to get your stuff out, which is good because we want it to take a long time to get your stuff out. So when we take the bar out, let's just stow it for a second. Watch how it stows internally of the unit. So it stows away nice and clean. Now we have 3 frame trays, 3 bicycles. We've had up to 300 pounds on the back of this bike carrier. It's extremely strong. We fused the stainless steel bar to the cold steel upright bar in 2 places. There's a full weld around both ends. And so we've gotten incredible strength out of that. Our stinger is a 20-inch stinger. The stinger gives you enough distance to where if you have an externally stored spare tire, or you have a hatchback vehicle with a split hatch, typically the split hatch you can open up the back half. We don't have any hinges in this unit. We don't want to introduce any weak spots to entice a thief to borrow your carrier. A weak spot like a hinge is defeated simply by putting a hammer and a pin, or a punch, and knocking the pin out, and then all of a sudden all your stuff walks away. 3 frame trays. Each one of them are independent of each other, which is really cool. Have you ever been driving down the road and you look at the back of somebody's car and it looks like a pinwheel on the back of their car? With these frame trays, you can adjust each one of them. Each one of them have 2 set screws and a jam nut on each set screw. So what happens is you tighten down the set screw to the point where it's pinching in on the stainless bar, and then you tighten the jam nut on top of that, which keeps the set screw from backing out as you're driving down the road. The stainless steel bars, we chose stainless steel because if this was a painted surface and you're using these set screws, you're going to chew it up. And so the stainless steel is a super product for this use. It is obviously corrosion resistant, and it gives a little softer bite, so when you tighten the set screw in, it definitely bites, and your bikes are real stable. So you always remember to tighten both set screws, and then tighten each jam nut down so that the set screws do not back out when you're traveling down the road. The trays incorporate 3 tie-down points on each tray. These trays are powder coated with a plastic coat. So it's a baked-on finish. It's a little softer, it's a little thicker, but it's great because it is a very durable product. The frame tray is made out of cold steel. Each one of these frame trays has a anti-sway bar on them. This anti-sway bar, if you look at it, can be actually pulled up or pushed away to match up your frame. So here's your bike frame. Let's go this way. Should your bike frame not match up to this angle of the sway bar, you can actually push the sway bar or pull the sway bar back and make it match up to your seat post angle. So basically it's tightened down the seat post, then the frame tray, the top tubes, and you're good to go. And you'd be surprised, there's hardly any motion on the back of your car with these 3 tie-down points being fully utilized. What's also nice is that the trays can be adjusted for width, not only angle, but also width. So if you have, maybe you only have 2 bikes, or you have 1 bike, or if you have 3 bikes and it's a little tight, maybe one of them is a little wider, you can move these around back and forth, side to side. So that's a neat feature. If you stow your locking bar internal, you always want to put a lock on that, because then it keeps it from falling out, and also keeps people from borrowing your frame trays. Check this out. The frame tray, and we're using 5mm hex, which is same thing that you're probably using on your bikes. It's all metric. But check this out. When you can't take these off when the frame tray is, or when the locking bar is stowed and locked in. We always recommend utilizing a locking hitch pin. So this goes through the receiver. It's a 2-inch receiver with a lock on the other side. It's keyed exactly like the lock that you'll use on the locking bar. We can, on our website, send you one of these. It saves you a lot of time and hassle running around. And it also, the benefit is that it is going to tie your rack to your car permanently. And so you don't want a weak spot by just using a standard locking hitch pin or a standard hitch pin. You want to try and utilize, if you're out to stop the thieves, you want to use a lock so that the carrier doesn't get borrowed with your bikes on it still. What's nice though is, again, 1 key, and both of those are keyed alike. Master Lock also makes one. It's a nice lock, but again, they don't have a locking hitch pin, so I'd lean towards Reese, or I'd lean towards Kurt, and we are right now stocking Reese. So thank you for letting me talk about the Bone Locker Anti-Theft Bike Carrier to you. It's a great product, made in USA, actually made here in Spokane, Washington. And I tell you what, it's going to be hard for someone to borrow your bikes when you have something that protects them like this. I always used to bring my bikes into the hotel room or park to where I could always see my bikes at a restaurant when I was traveling, and that got kind of old. Anymore, the bikes are on the back of my car. I don't even worry about it, and you shouldn't have to worry about it either. If you have any more questions, you can go to my website. I've got another tutorial that shows how this works. It's www.thebonelocker.com. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoy.